Is the future of software development serverless? Let's start with applications that are implemented in a traditional web server and run on physical machines. An application that is implemented on a server can spend several hours downloading, compiling, installing, configuring, and connecting all types of components, and then upgrading all types of operating systems. On top of that, the enormous duty of detecting security vulnerabilities. To summarize this, server administration takes up a lot of time, and it requires dedicated, experienced personnel. So we ask ourselves, what is the objective of software engineering? Contrary to popular belief, the objective of software engineering is not to deliver software. The objective is to add value, which is to say, place the advantages and benefits in the hands of the end user. At the end of the day, we know we need servers to deliver software. However, the time typically spent on server administration is time that can be spent developing new functionalities and improving the application performance. Instead of worrying about servers and other infrastructure, we need to concentrate on adding the most possible value in the least possible amount of time for our end users. Think about when you have a big idea. The last thing you want to do is spend time on anything but executing this big idea. You want hands on deck, typing up lines of code, and getting that idea going ASAP. How do we minimize time and generate the impact we're looking for? The answer is the cloud. In earlier times, developers only had hardware to run their code on, and it could take months to get a new computing unit. The growth in applications required a lot of planning, a large amount of time, and most importantly, a lot of money. The invention of virtual machines reduced the time required to access a new computing unit to simply a few minutes. The change was inevitable. DevOps has grown and matured a lot through this process. It gave providers of platform as a service and infrastructure as a service very quick growth. These third-party platforms allow the task of maintenance and code execution to be delegated towards expert hands. This liberates the software development team from server administration duties. In today's age, developers have distanced themselves from implementing software on physical computers. Instead of building and downloading a bunch of different technologies at a platform level in each server instance, and then having to repeat the process during upgrades, you can now go to a simple web-based user interface, click on a few options, and allow your applications to run easily, automatically, and with less complications. The actual state of platform as a service and cloud computing is convenient and powerful. But is there an even better way? Absolutely. The answer is serverless. The next important change in cloud computing is known as serverless, or functions as a service. Keep in mind that serverless does not mean that the servers are no longer involved. It just means that the developers no longer need to give them any thought. Serverless has an objective during software development to eliminate the necessity of infrastructure administration. There's a few reasons for this. The first one is the running of functions with code, or functions as a service. In the case of AWS Lambda, let me explain to you how it develops an unbeatable solution. Check the orange line in this graph. It represents actual transaction traffic for a single application. We can see the usage peak at certain times. If we had to prepare a physical or virtual server to handle this traffic, we need to supply an ample amount of capacity to handle any high usage peak. This results in a huge waste of capacity anytime the application is not experiencing those super high peaks of traffic. In this graph, we can see the impact on capacity by administering instances in the cloud. The savings are noticeable right away, and the model is scalable and elastic. However, there is still a portion of resources that we're paying for that are not being used. With AWS Lambda, we can use functions that execute code as needed. Lambda supplies only the exact amount of computing power needed for that specific moment. This is how we only pay for what we're consuming. Lambda takes care of the rest. Security. Lambda is secure due to only supporting secure and encrypted communications. Forget about the vulnerabilities of operating systems. Scalability. It's scalable because the amount of requests do not matter. Lambda will only consume the necessary resources to complete the necessary task. Elasticity. It's elastic because it only consumes the necessary resources in real time. Any amount of tasks requested are processed without a problem. Another important point is that we take advantage of external resources and API. A huge quantity of third-party services now exist. APIs that manage online payments, emails, user analysis, content administration, continuous integration, and a bunch of other things. Instead of spending valuable resources by creating services from scratch, developers can now connect prefabricated pieces and eliminate a lot of complexities in their applications. By using these services, developers can quickly build scalable architecture that is extremely efficient. Serverless is an important step towards the development of modern applications that are reliable, scalable, and secure. This is a service that you can take advantage of now at a very low cost. If your objectives are to secure an MVP, innovate with a new product, automate a specific task, or simply save on the amount in administration of infrastructure, serverless is the solution.